I remember the night I landed in Pune. It was the 28th of November 1995. My younger brother helped me get on the train at Ambala, and my elder brother received me at Pune. The train was Jhelum Express, and it was dark when I got off at Pune railway station. There was freedom in the air I breathed. I was in the third year of my Bachelor of Engineering's degree, with an industrial training of 6 months as an excuse. I had come to Pune to try my luck with playback singing in Bombay. I never did any training in an industry, but I went to Bombay, and after a few rejections realized that I required training in classical music. By January, I had become a regular student of Institute of Modern Music and was taking lessons from a master in the classicals. My path had got defined. It was music. When I landed in Pune, I was on antidepressants. I was taking heavy doses of Prothedon 75 mg and Ativan. Music got me rid of both of them. The language people spoke was Marathi, so the change was total. It saved my life because back in the tunnel, I had started experiencing mild attacks of loss of remembrance. Many a times, my yesterdays would totally get deleted from my memory, and I was unable to tell what I had done the previous day. Pune gave me back my life. In a subtle way, I got reincarnated in Pune. And that is what a path does to you. It makes you happy once again. When you choose your path, it is most probably something you had always loved to do, but had never thought about as a way of living. Some dormant passion finds its way to the surface of your soul. You feel like having met an old friend after a long separation. Dr. Wayne Dyer says, we are all born as a genius, but our conditioning by the society de-geniuses us. Our passions get buried underneath our conditioning, and our true nature goes into hibernation. The path brings our soul back on the track. When you have chosen your passion and decided to pursue it as a way of living, your soul is cured of its restlessness. Half of your dream gets realized in the act of knowing what it is. Most of us don't even know what we really want. You must have heard the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It is on the path that your soul picks up its teachers. Though we keep on learning till our last breath, but it is on the path that we formally learn from teachers and are required to undergo disciplined training. A beginner cannot be expected to understand a Tao Te Ching. He or she has to start with the basics, and for basics, you need a teacher in a physical form. To get in touch with the unheard, unseen, and untouchable, you have to start with something that can be heard, seen, and touched. I took my classical training from Shri Murli Manohar Dapke, my Western music lessons from Professor Suhas Chandra Kulkarni, and my lessons in martial arts from Sensei Salil Nadkarni. They were all great perfectionists and very kind and devoted souls. It was as if Satguru Jagjit Singh Ji had browsed the whole country and found for me the best that was available. Whatever I am is because of these great ustads and my Guru's compassion. Without a path, it would be impossible to channelize our energy. And unchannelized energy is like a river in flood. It is more of a liability and less of an asset. The path, in a way, says to our energy this way. It directs a soul towards its liberation. When water from the mountains is tamed by the dam and passed through canals, it touches its optimum utility levels. Similarly, a disciplined soul becomes a blessing for the mankind. People are healed and metamorphosized by the mere presence of someone who is in tune with the divine. Channelized souls are the bridges between mankind and God, and the most valuable gems on our planet. But how do you tell whether someone is on a path to liberation or just wasting an incarnation? Because we are all doing something or the other. The anvil on which to test your doing is awareness. If you are becoming more and more aware of yourself and your surroundings because of what you are doing, then it is a spiritual path. And this will happen only if your doing involves working with energy and subtle frequencies. In fact, one of the greatest mysteries in this existence is frequency. Dance involves working with expressions, rhythm, and energy. Music involves working with rhythm, frequency, and energy. Meditation involves working with thoughts, that is frequencies, and the universal energy, and so on. When you work on such subtle things on a daily basis, an increment in your awareness is natural, and awareness is spirituality. Once you have become aware, you can convert any job into meditation by concentrating on its subtleness. The path gradually teaches you how to do this. I became a student of music in 1995. By 2010, I had become a student of silence. Shri Ram Das has said it so well. He says, every method is a trap, and the bizarre aspect of the whole thing is that you have to be trapped for them to work. And all that you can hope is that they self-destruct. So the path simply escorts you from point A to point B. It is a vehicle. It is not something to cling to. It is not something for your ego to be stuffed with. The path is simply to take your consciousness to higher levels, to upgrade it. But as a vehicle, it is very significant for the seeker. You could not have walked all that distance. Your path saves you an incarnation. Every phase of a spiritual journey has its own challenges. The challenge of a path is coexisting between your inner world and the world outside. The challenge is so great that there are many who totally throw away the outer world and decide to save the inner one. And there is a reason for that. Every time you try to fit into the world outside, you feel as if you have started losing what you created inside. You are terrified at the thought of losing it because of all the pain you went through in the process of discovering it. You are sandwiched between the silence inside and the noise outside. For me, it was and still is a tough thing. The problem can be solved to a large extent if out of your silence you create something that the world can relate to. A painting, a music album, a book, a movie, anything that appears to belong to this world, something that can be displayed and put on shelves. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for a seeker to earn a living. The balance between these two worlds has to be maintained. There's another way of looking at a spiritual journey, and that is through the lens of innocence. We are all born innocent. Then the world pounces upon us and takes it all away, bit by bit. We are robbed of our godliness. The whole process of awakening is nothing but regaining a lost innocence and becoming childlike once again. But the process is very paradoxical, like everything else on earth. The 5 great enemies of our innocence, that is lust, anger, attachment, greed, and ego, do not just drop away. They first grow, then ripen, and then fall off. Not only that, these distractions can find their way back into your soul in very sophisticated ways. You have to stay alert until the moment you reach the point of no return, whereby every corner of your being is illuminated and there are no dark corners for such troublemakers to hide in. The secret lies in staying a witness to all of it, and as Dr. remaining.A says, never letting that inner candle flame flicker. Seek innocence and you will find God. To know what I mean by innocence, you shall have to observe a baby or a small child, and observe very carefully, without analyzing or judging anything. In a child's way of living lies the secret to your salvation, if you can get it. Your spiritual path is designed to make you innocent once again, though it may take 3 decades for this to happen. When you are centered in your ego, you are unable to see your wrongdoings. Whatever an egoist does is right according to him. But when you bring awareness into it, you are able to realize your wrongdoings and you are able to forgive yourself. And when you forgive yourself, you cannot punish others. You forgive them too. Out of all this emerges a new being who is harmless and compassionate. A new being who is like a child. All spiritual journeys are therefore a road to innocence. The only difference between a child and a Buddha is that the child does not know, but the Buddha knows. In other words, a Buddha is simply a child who knows. Innocence thus can be a testimony to your spiritual evolution. An individual's journey can be called spiritual only if the greatest change occurring around that person is in his or her spirit, his or her soul. If I am exactly what I used to be 30 years ago, I am definitely not a spiritualist. The path is supposed to, rather guaranteed to, free your spirit of all its imprisonments up to and including the body we are all encaged in. Spiritualism is like the curdling of milk. Nothing happens on the surface of the container, but within, a milk is getting converted into curd. The withdrawal puts the milk in a container. The tunnel boils it, and your guru adds some curd to it. The path is the time required for the process to complete. A totally new substance with a different taste and different curative properties is formed. Because of the very nature of his journey, the seeker comes in contact with the greatest mysteries on earth. One of these is words, written and spoken by the enlightened. For a common man, they are just words, but for a seeker, they are like a roadmap to liberation. These words have the potential to take your soul to the very dimension they are coming from, a dimension that does not belong to the world we see, a dimension that has been described very successfully by Lao Tzu and Guru Nanak Dev Ji. These words can be your greatest companions in a crowd of strangers where everyone is obsessed with the material aspect of their existence and no one is interested in that which it is all coming from. These words can be a food for your soul and a refuge for your mind. My personal sources of such words were Satguru Jagjit Singh Ji, Acharya Rajneesh, Sant Harbhajan Singh Ji, and recently Dr. remaining.A and Shri Ram Das. These teachers literally pulled me out of all my ruts. Like the fire contained in a log of wood, words have great power contained in them.